Who wants to share? You can do so by either unmuting and speaking or by typing in the chat. If any thoughts, any emotions, any downloads came through for you while listening and watching that video and that song, we would love to hear it.
Ooh, can I go first?
Yes, Shay, please go first.
Oh my goodness, that song was beautiful. And watching the video and seeing them interact, it was like she was spontaneous and he really didn't, agree to what she was doing. So it was like she knew what she wanted, but he didn't know. Mm-hmm. And when he handed her that note, I was just like, whoa, that was a heartbreak right there. I felt that because, that kind of happened to me before. So I resonated, a lot with the video, but the song, it was beautiful because there was like a new day, a new season. So it was like, everything is starting over. So with today, being the first, so it's like it's a new day. It's actually almost a new season. So this was perfect. So kudos to you for picking this song.
Yes, of course, of course. Thank you for sharing that, Shay. Anybody else want to share? Mahogany in the chat says, I was jamming. I love that song. I'm going to save it to my playlist. Absolutely. I'm going to tell y'all, if anybody else wants to share, I want to open the floor so that you can, and then I'll tell you how that song came about for day one. Jenny says, I love the song and resonate when she kept figuring out who she is, but he wanted her to be the same. Yeah. All righty. So thank you for that. Thank y'all for sharing. When the idea of this class actually came to mind, it's so amazing how spirit works. But the layout of the class from day 1 to day 6, because this is a 6-week course, from day 1 to day 6, songs came to my mind for each day. And the very first song that came was this one, okay? And the title of the song, even though for the entire song, she's saying, I'm a wanderer, I'm a wanderer, I'm a wanderer, the title of the song is called Spotless Mind, okay? And the reason why it's so important, and the reason why that song is so important with understanding the sacrament of sacred love, is because not only are we always changing and growing in this lifetime, but we bring with us in this lifetime all of the hurt, all of the healing, all of the trauma, all of the unrequited love, all of the abusive love, all of the traumatic love, all of the healthy love. We bring that with us in this lifetime. So just as we see her changing, figuring herself out, right, in this physical one lifetime, that also happens at the soul level, okay? Where we're constantly changing and transforming and becoming something different. And because of that, the way that we view love and the way that we view relationships changes as well. And so for me, this song was so important because at some point in my life, I didn't know if I truly believed in love. Like I knew that the love from a mother to a child, that's very much so possible and real. But love and sacred relationship, sacred partnership between that divine masculine, that divine feminine energy, that was something that I questioned. And because I questioned it, I was always wandering, seeking and searching, but most of the time seeking and searching in all the wrong places. And it was because I needed something. I needed something. And I thought that thing that I needed had only stemmed from this lifetime. But as I manifested sacred partnership and I did a lot of reflection work and I did a lot of looking back and meditating and things of that nature, I realized that my seek and my search and my wandering energy my going from this relationship to this relationship to this relationship, or my dissatisfaction in relationships, I realized that I was looking for something that was deeper than just Desiree right here, right now. Okay. And so as we go into the sacrament of sacred love and the mentality and the mindfulness of manifesting sacred love and partnership, we first have to understand that we are so much more than who we are being today, right? I had to understand that I am, and I was, so much more than the little girl who was abandoned by her father. Okay? So in our seek and in our search and in our wandering, in order for us to truly manifest that sacred love and that sacred union that lasts, that heals, and that transforms, we first have to understand who we were before now. This shit gets deep, y'all. I'm telling you, love and relationships goes beyond who you are today. And if we don't have that in our minds and in our hearts, we'll keep on wandering, right? And we'll keep on manifesting relationships that last for a month, 2 months, 3 months. It may even last for a few years, but it really doesn't convert and evolve into that relationship that your heart, that your soul, that your being is actually calling forth for you. Okay? So you'll be like Janae was, how she keeps changing and changing and changing, but don't get it twisted. That man, he changes as well. Okay? That person who you see in front of you, that changes, he changes as well based off of who you are being. So we have to understand that the constant evolution and the changing and the trying to find yourself, really what we're trying to reconnect to is how we identify with love and relationships, really. Not just what we think it is, not just what we feel it is, but what our deep-rooted, deep-seated beliefs are surrounding love. Because that determines how we wander, how long we wander. Because here's the thing. When you find sacred love and sacred partnership, you can change, you can grow, you can blossom, you can evolve, you can become a totally different person. And that partnership can still remain intact. Okay? But that's when we find sacred love. That's when we find sacred partnership. That's when we find that soulmate or that twin flame who is doing their work. So that means they're also changing. Okay? But when we first understand who we were, how we got to this point, how did I get to being Desiree? How did you get to being the Shamika that you are today, the Mahogany that you are today, the Jeff that you are today? When you understand how you got here, not just from your childhood trauma, but some of those very deep-rooted, deep-seated things, this is what allows you to get comfortable in yourself. And it's not a wandering. It's not necessarily you keep on changing your external facade, because that's what we also saw from her in the video. The way she looked changes, you know, her hobbies change and all of those things. But all of that can make up one divine being. Okay? We are multifaceted beings. You may like cooking, skydiving, swimming. You may like and enjoy all of those things. But a part of what blocks us from manifesting that sacred love or maintaining the relationships that we have, a part of what blocks us from that is that we throw away our old aspects, our past life cells. We get rid of those things instead of integrating that into our being today. Okay? Is that clear for y'all? Is that clear? I talked about this in some other class, some other course, some other live stream, can't really remember when, but I talked about how we've become fragmented beings. Even in the video that we just saw, we saw her changing and going through these different phases, which we all go through, but we are everything all at the same time. Okay? We are everything all at the same time. And when we can learn to integrate all of those aspects within ourselves and stop denying who we were, stop denying what we used to do, stop denying all of those things, here's a big thing, stop being shameful of who you used to be and what you used to do. Stop holding on to guilt for who you used to be and what you used to do. Very big deal, okay? Some of you may not have come into a deep understanding of that. But when you hold on to deep-rooted guilt, deep-rooted shame, deep-rooted disappointment about who you used to be and how that state of being affected your love life. And I'm not just talking about this lifetime, I'm talking about past lifetimes as well, okay? When you release the shame, the guilt, the disappointment, and when you come face to face with this, you open yourself up to receive the love that you desire. Here's a great example. Okay. I've told y'all this before that, my mother and my father, they got a divorce when I was 4, 5, young. And my father and my mother, they had me at like 24, right? They were about 24 years old. My mother was his first love. She was his first everything. She introduced him to everything. And because of that, he automatically assumed, okay, I need to marry her. She needs to be that one. Okay, can y'all tell me in the chat what could be an issue with that, right? Like finding that person that introduces you to love, introduces you to sex, introduces you to relationships, and you don't explore anything else. What could be a problem with that? Y'all let me know in the chat. How could that be challenging? Y'all let me know. Let's go. Mahogany says, you don't have any other experiences to compare it to? Absolutely. Getting bored from limited experiences? Absolutely. You expect them to be your absolute everything? Absolutely. And lack of experience? Absolutely. All of those things. And so my mother and my father, they're married, they have me, relationship gets a little bit rocky, they have my younger brother, and my father is like, I just can't do this. This is too much, right? This is too much. I still have a lot of exploring I want to do. I still have things like that. And so he leaves. Him and my mother, they have a rocky divorce, a tumultuous divorce. And because it was argumentative and because it was toxic, they were not able to exactly, oh God, that's a big one too. Losing the identity, that was a big one. My father hadn't determined his identity at that time. He met my mother at 20 and they were just doing them. And my mother, she's a Leo, she's ferocious, she's a go-getter. And so he didn't even establish his identity yet. So he leaves, they get a divorce, and it's ugly, it's tumultuous, it's argumentative. And so he decides that he's going to come when he wants to come and not at the times that they established, not at the times where my mom was letting me know your father's coming, so on and so forth. And so this left me as a kid feeling unwanted, feeling unloved, feeling abandoned, and feeling rejected. Okay. And it was just, and so as I grew up, as I became an adult, I became that wanderer where I didn't expect too much from the men I was in a relationship with. I almost, in a sense, expected them to leave. I expected our relationship to not last very long. Oh, we have fun for a little while or whatever. It's not too serious. And it goes on and I'm done with it. What I didn't realize that this was a past life cycle that I was in. I didn't realize that my father doing what he did was actually so that I could have the experience of being that wanderer, of being what some may call promiscuous, of being that woman who was seeking for validation externally. I didn't realize that until I manifested my relationship with Dream, and I was like, oh shit, that's what I've been doing. My father didn't not come because he didn't love me. He didn't come because I needed him to not come so that I can learn the lesson, right? So that I can learn the lesson that I control my love. I control my validation. I control whether I feel abandoned or rejected and things like that. Okay. And so, boom, I manifest my relationship with Dream. And this helps me to see clearly. Okay. This helps me to see clearly that past life repetitiveness that was actually showing up in my earlier years of abandonment, of rejection, and so on and so forth. And then I manifest Dream Wise, who is so committed, right? Who is so, he's fearless, he's relentless, he's committed, and he is like abandonment, leaving, breaking up, that's not in his vocabulary. Okay. So I had to first accept the fact that that abandonment wound was deeper than just my father. Some of y'all have wounds that you're dealing with and that you're healing. It doesn't just start with your mother and your father. Some of y'all have wounds that are deeper than that. Some of y'all have relationship connections, relationship karma that goes deeper than what you are experiencing in this physical realm. Okay? So one thing I encourage for you all to do is, if you feel called to it, I encourage you to get a past life regression reading. I encourage you to do that. Or what you can do is you can get a book called A Radical Approach to the Akashic Records. And as you read that book, you take yourself through the meditations, which that is something that I've done where I've received a whole bunch of answers. Okay. So what I had to integrate into my being in order to manifest the sacred love and the sacred union with Dream, what I had to integrate into my being was that abandonment was my own perception and creation. And I had to not feel guilty, ashamed, or disappointed about the actions that I took when I was living from a place of abandonment, when I was living from a place of rejection. Okay? Because the shame, the guilt, the disappointment that you have for who you've been in this lifetime, in the past lifetime, it keeps you continuously changing the faces of the people you are in relationship with. Okay? It keeps you trying to become something different, trying to do something different, thinking that changing yourself is what's going to make you more palatable in a relationship. Okay? In sacred love and in sacred relationships and in spiritual relationships, your light and your dark needs to integrate. Okay? So we don't want to keep, and I love Janae, and I love that video because it's so true. Because what she's showing us as she's constantly changing and things like that, she's trying to figure out what makes her who she is. Okay. But a lot of times, family, we reject certain aspects of ourselves that may have caused us harm, that may have been shameful. We reject those aspects, thinking that in the rejection of that, it will make us more attractive to other partners or to potential mates. Okay. When in reality, when we accept those things, this is what helps us to attract the partner that we need, that helps us to deeply heal. Okay? Before I accepted my abandonment wound, this is so juicy, okay? Let me know in the chat if y'all are getting it. I need to know that you're getting it, okay? Let me tell you, before I accepted that abandonment wound, before I was like, oh shit, The reason why I be bouncing around and just, first of all, feeling that real love doesn't exist. The reason why I be feeling like that is because I dealt with abandonment and rejection and all of that. Like the reason why I was dating over here and I was dating over here, and this person wasn't shit and this person wasn't shit, but I was giving them my time. I was giving them my energy. I was giving them my body. I was giving them all of those things. The reason why I did that is because I felt like I wasn't worthy based off of abandonment, based off of my father not being there. But when I look deeper into it, I realized like, oh, you've been dealing with abandonment wounds. Your father was just teaching. Your father was just giving you an opportunity to heal it now. Because in that past lifetime, you wasn't ready to heal it. You wasn't ready to transform it. You didn't have the level of consciousness that you needed to go past it. Okay? Understand? So when I accepted that and I accepted the actions that I took based off of that wound, this is what allowed me to attract a person whose whole heart, whose whole mind, whose whole body is invested in our union. Okay? So when we're talking about the mentality, we're talking about the mindfulness, and we're talking about manifesting and maintaining sacred partnerships, one of the biggest things that you're going to have to do is accept and embrace you. Okay? I tell you, I remember a time, a tough time. It was one of Dream and I's very first hard arguments and disappointment. I mean, and just issues. We were out at a bar. We were at a bar. First of all, I don't know why he came with me and my homegirl to a bar, but he did. He came with me and my homegirl to a bar on it was like a day party or something. And my homegirl knew a guy he had a whole section and bottles and just luxurious, right? Like a football player or something like that. And me, in that abandonment wound and wanting to be accepted and needing to feel loved and needing to feel embraced, I'm like eating all of it up. I'm like, I don't even realize that I am here with somebody who I care about, because I had this wound that was just seeking that validation, that was just seeking to be fit in. And so, yes, my homegirl could have been over here with the football players and the NFL people doing her thing, but I should have been there, focused with my mate, we were dating at this time. We weren't 100% committed. So let me also say that. But we were dating, we were getting to know each other. We were trying to see if we were going to move forward. And so I kind of took him for granted in that moment because I didn't know what I had, because I was still operating from the wounded child, needing to fit in and needing validation. And so I'm up there with these NFL players, and that's a very intense thing. I mean, I understand him as a man. You're seeing a girl that you're dating, a girl that you're interested in, with surrounded by football players, and you down here with your homeboy and y'all just, doing whatever y'all doing. So I understand that too. And that was one of our first big arguments. And it was really one of those things where I had to say, okay, I have work to do. If I'm going to be in a committed, loving relationship, I have work to do with no longer seeking and searching for love and validation outside of myself. I really got to heal this abandonment wound. I really got to heal this rejection wound, because otherwise I'll keep looking and seeking and searching and wandering. And even when the quality person shows up in my life, even when the opportunity for sacred love and spiritual partnership shows up in my life, I can't fully manifest it and live in it and experience it, because I'm still denying that I have a hurt or a pain that needs to be dealt with. Okay? All right. Let me know in the chat. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and follow the protocol, because we just jumped right on in, which is something that I love to do. But I have something that I want y'all to contemplate on. Okay. And so what we're going to do, I am going to play us some meditation sounds, right? I'm going to play us some meditation sounds. And I want you all to, we're going to spend a few moments. We're going to spend a few moments, maybe about 5 minutes of you all just tuning in and getting the understanding of what your beliefs surrounding love is. Okay? I'm gonna find the perfect song that I want to pick, and then we're gonna dive into that question. And I really want you all to tune into yourself. Peace, Zanitha. I saw you come in. Peace, sis. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. When you jumped on, when you got in, sis, we were into the thick of it, okay? And I couldn't take a moment to greet you and welcome you. So, hey, Zanitha, do me a favor. In the chat, tell me where you are coming from. Where do you live? Where are you reigning from? That's important information. You never know who you may get connected with in the chat, okay? You never know who you may be connected with in the chat, all right? So, like I said, what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna spend about 5 minutes, and I really want you, if you have the chance, to tune in. I know some of you got kids around you. I know some of you probably have other things going on, but just for a few minutes, I want you to just ask yourself, what is the meaning that I have given to love? What does love mean to me? Okay, that's the question you're going to be asking yourself. What does love mean to me? And as you do this, I want you to analyze and reflect, okay, on all of it. Do not try to say the politically correct thing, okay? I actually want you to be honest with yourself. And if you have a journal, a pen, or a paper, write it down. We are going to talk about those things after this few minutes, all right? So again, just a few minutes. This is beautiful. Just a few minutes of reflecting on what does love mean to you? What does love mean to you? What is the meaning that I've given to love? Does this meaning serve what I desire to experience? We're just going to spend a few minutes tuning into that question. What does love mean? What do I truly believe and think of love? Is it real? Is it something that I could have? Is it only something that is shared between parents and their children? Am I worthy of love? Feel free to journal that, or to just sit with it, really lean into it. Really lean into it. What is love? What is love? Do your best to open your heart and be honest. What is love? What does it mean to you? What has created your definition of love? Does that definition align with what you actually desire? Or is that definition still holding on to a limited belief, a limited understanding? We're going to take about 1 more minute of tuning in to the vibration of love, our belief surrounding love. And we're doing this from a place of non-judgment. All right, all right. We back, we here. What's up? What is up? Let's let Tramel's audio get connected. All right, peace, Tramel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you here. Tramel, look, do me a favor. In the chat, put where you're coming from, what you want to gain from today's class. Put that in the chat. And yes, peace, Zanitha from Baton Rouge. Yes, yes, yes. Recently moved from Houston to Palacios, Texas. Glad to be here. We are glad to have you here, sis. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tramel, let us know in the chat where you are coming from. So, like I said at the beginning, this is an interactive course. Tramel from Florida. We got a couple of Florida people in here. Okay, I'm telling you, Florida may have a love connection. Listen, don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it, okay? A couple of people in here from Florida, men and women. So, hey, I'm just saying. All righty, so let me know if you will unmute or if you want to type it in the chat. Let me know how about this? I challenge all of you to give me a key point that you understand or that you believe when it comes to love. I want to take, here's what I want. I want two people to unmute and talk to me, and then the rest of you can type it in the chat. Kelsey, I missed the interactive part trying to cook dinner at the same time. I get it. Multitasking, I get it 100%. That is life. But I will say, when it comes down to getting what you want, baby, when it comes down to getting what you want, honey, that food, it be having to wait sometimes. I'm just telling you from experience, it be having to wait. Okay. So the question that was asked was, what is your belief about love? Peace, Tracy. Welcome into the fold. Do me a hey.
Hi, how you doing? That's the lady.
Yep, we here. Peace to you, sis. Go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and mute you. Do me a favor, Tracy, in the chat, tell me where you are coming from. We want to hear from you. We want to know where you're located.
Okay, Carlina, bye. Hold on, let me get myself together.
Get it together, girl. We here for it. We are here for it.
I just saw the email. I wasn't even planning on getting on the Zoom, and I said, "Oh, I thought it was later on." Let me.
Well, we are glad to have you here, Tracy. Listen, there's something in store for you. For the simple fact that you got on here, that means that there's something here for you. And so we received that. Thank you for being here. Okay.
You're welcome. Let me put where I'm from.
Yes, definitely. All right. So what we are doing right now, I want one or two of you to unmute yourself and let's talk about what you discovered, your beliefs, your thoughts surrounding love is. We want to talk about that. And then the rest of you drop some of those things in the chat. Remember, this is a space of openness. This is a space of honestness. This is a space of receiving what it is that you need for your growth, for your healing, for your evolution, and for your manifestation and maintenance of sacred love. And so this is one of those things that we have to deal with. This is one of those things that we have to look at. Like I said earlier, for me personally, because I want to create a space where you all feel okay with sharing, I'll share first. For me, before my relationship with Dream, love was not really something that I thought was real between man and woman and them coming together and having something that was just powerful, beautiful, and amazing. I never seen it. I didn't see it. Like I said, my mother and my father got a divorce and it was ugly. My father had multiple women. My mother had multiple men. And up until the last 12 years or so, they've just now found love and partnership. Really, my mother really found her sacred partner, her soulmate. My father found someone that he can coexist with for the long haul, but I still don't think that he's found that deep-rooted love and companionship and connection. He found somebody that he just kind of said, okay, let's do life. Let's go on vacations together, and just being honest. And the reason why I say that is because his actions don't speak to love and honor for her. For example, they go out, they have this thing called man law, and they'll go to the movies where all the men will go and Dream will go with them. And he say, my father just be doing the most sometimes. You know, even sometimes will take off his wedding ring, depending on what he's doing and where he's at. So that to me is not symbolic of that deep spiritual sacred love that we're looking for. And in fact, it's so deep that on my birthday, Dream gave a speech and he was, oh, babe, I love you. He said all of these wonderful things. My father cried. Hearing Dream speak about me in a way that my father has never felt for a woman. Do you understand? So that being my life experience of having a mother and a father who, you know, they were young and in love, and that puppy love thing, and them hormones are raging, right? And they came together and they had children, but it wasn't that deep, sustainable love. It wasn't that spiritual love. It was that fleshly, human, this is fulfilling a wound that I have right now. Okay. That's what that was. That's what I observed. And so that led me to believe, like, I don't know if that really exists. I done seen my mom in multiple abusive relationships. I've seen my father in multiple relationships where infidelity was present and all of these good things. So I didn't believe in it. And because of that lack of belief in the fact that there can be divine union between masculine and feminine, so that accompanied with an abandonment wound and a rejection wound, this led me to be a wanderer and dating over here. If it didn't last, oh, it hurts, crying, wham, but whatever, moving on. So I want to know from you all, would love if one or two of you would unmute and let's talk about it. For the rest of you, just drop something in the chat because we want to create a space where everybody knows that they're not alone in this. I'm listening. We're listening.
I could give a crack at what I think.
Okay, let's hear it, Jenny.
Love used to be for me. I'm getting better, but I grew up in a Caribbean household, which means that unfortunately, the men were not held accountable for the cheating, the running around, and the women were supposed to just stay there and accept the abuse. And because I grew up around that for the longest time, I didn't believe in the love either. Because I was like, if this is love or marriage, I don't want to have nothing to do with that because there's no honor, there's no respect. You're just tagging along and happy about having physical things, but not a partner. So I kind of pushed away from that because I didn't have the example. So I thought I didn't know how to even get something like that. So I just, instead of trying to figure it out, I was like, I'm just going to leave it alone.
You said, I just don't want no parts in it. I don't want no love at all.
No, because I was like, I don't know. This looks crazy to me. You guys are miserable, but on the outside looks nice. But on the inside, you're angry and depressed. And I'm like, who wants to do that? So because of that, for me, for like I said, for longest time, I didn't believe in love up until I started meeting people that were in healthy relationships. And I was like, what? I was like, this is alien. And now, fortunately, I've been meeting a lot of people that are in healthy relationships. So it's kind of switching me to a place where it's more believable now.
Yes, yes. And that's real. That's so important for you to understand and embrace that there is a part of you, in a sense, who closed off your heart to that divine companionship. And so that would make sense as to why, you probably attracted people who were like, who were ready to love. Either you attracted two kinds of people who were ready to love bomb you and just give you absolutely everything that they had, or people who were emotionally unavailable.
It was both.
Exactly. You manifested both of those things based off of where you were, how you were feeling, and what was going on inside of you, based off of that resonance and that frequency that was coming from your being. But here's the thing that I know is that heart closure is not just an observation that just comes from, viewing your parents and those people, but it's a lifetime of these types of experiences. Maybe even in a past life, maybe you were the person whose heart was fully open, loving, giving, surrendering to love, but the love was unrequited. And so you come into this lifetime and you're like, you know what? I don't want to do it at all. And these are the things that we have to embrace and understand so that when certain relationships appear in our lives, we're able to say, okay, am I truly being open? Am I being closed off? And that way, when we have these tug of war moments in our relationship, we can ask ourselves, where is this really coming from? Is it really the other person, or is this something I am dealing with? Is this an internal battle that I am projecting outward? Okay, such a gift. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jenny. I love it, love it, love it. And yes, your heart is open and flowing and you are radiating a powerful energy that is connecting with the heart and with the mind and with the soul of the divine people that you are meant to connect with, not just as far as a male counterpart or partner that you will manifest, but other sisters as well. Okay.
Thank you for allowing me to share.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Anybody else want to share by speaking your truth? Peace, Carlina, welcome to the group. You're coming in a little bit late, but the good thing is I'm going to send y'all this recording so that you can listen back to this goodness. Anybody else want to share what they're, oh, Jeff, you're unmuted. What's up, brother? Speak to us.
What's going on? Well, I know for me, I never growing up, I never seen love from my mother and my stepdad. Like I've never seen them, only time I ever seen them interact, like when we dropped my mom off to work, they would kiss goodbye. And that was it. But it was never no example of how a man's supposed to treat a woman and all that type of stuff. You know, as I got older and I was in these relationships, you know, and I was in one real bad relationship, and my grandmother always used to tell me that's not love. Love is kind, love is happiness, loving is all this stuff. And I'm like, well, every relationship I done had, it's like if we're not arguing or we're not fussing and stuff like that, that means, you know, I thought there's no love there. I guess, you know, I didn't know anything about toxicity. I didn't know nothing, you know, so I didn't never know that type of love what she was explaining existed, because every relationship I was been in was just like chaos, like from then to the beginning, well, a couple months in to the end. So it was like I never experienced it. And, you know, so, and then my last relationship, it was just horrible. It even turned me to someone I would never want to be again. You know, so it's that fear of you know, not wanting to take another woman through that from my insecurities, my part, plus experiencing the distrust and stuff like that. So, you know, but even I found myself, I've been single for a long time now, but I find myself, I believe in the fairy tale love. Like I love romantic comedy movies and things like that. I love
there
that.
You go.
You know, right. But it's like I was afraid of the relationships and believing in the love, but it's like all the movies I watch is based on that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, damn, I never really noticed. Like, so maybe I do still believe in that because, you know, like
you're attracted to it,
right? 100%. And it's just like I love them. Like they like I don't even watch action movies and stuff like that anymore. It's like basically all love movies and things like that. But it's like a part of me just like, because I never experienced that, you know, that part of the love that my grandmother says existed. So it's like, well, damn, like, you know, does it really exist for me? Because I understand we're on an individual journey. So, you know, so it's just like trying to like experience that. Then I know that stuff is nothing but TV also, you know, so it's like I can't, you know, try to live up to that. But at the same time, it's like something in me I know is yearning for it.
I love that. I applaud you so much, Jeff, because everything that you said is just so damn real. And let me tell you something, watching those love movies is reprogramming your mind. In fact, one of my clients, one of my girls who is in here right now, I specifically told her she needs to watch them. Okay. I literally told her, I said, listen, I need it to be a weekly ritual of you watching a romantic comedy, so that you get your laughter on and you also get that dose of love that sometimes we run away from because we're like, oh, that's fake, that's not real, that can't happen. But when we watch those things and we become a part of the movie, you literally start feeling the characters and you literally become a part of it. You're programming your mind. It's the same thing as if you were best friends with Dream and I. If you were best friends with Dream and I, and we always hung out together, we go bowling together, we go hang out together, and you got to see us in love and you got to see us engaging, your mind is going to start saying, this is real, this is something that I can have. So when you watch those movies and you surrender and you allow your emotions to be a part of it, the same thing is happening. It is unlocking and rewiring your mind to know that this is for you. In order for that to happen, though, one of the things that we have to accept, specifically for you, Jeff, based off of what you just communicated, you have to understand that you've attached trauma and love. Okay? We got to make peace with that understanding. And let me tell you, Jeff, you're not alone, because I did the same thing. I did the same thing. So all of these times in my past where I was mistreated, or I was talked down to, or I just knew, because you be knowing intuitively when it's not what it is. In those times where I just knew that this person didn't really care for me and have my best interest, my trauma and that shadow side would almost like, it was just crazy. I couldn't see clearly. But right when I accepted the fact, oh, I've attached trauma to love based off of seeing my mother in multiple abusive relationships. I've told you all this before, crazy ass experience. I said this a little while ago. I had a stepfather who, my mother actually married him, and his name was Mr. Greg, bald head man, maybe like 6 feet tall, average size frame, appeared to be just a good dude. I'm gonna take care of y'all. I'm gonna make sure y'all have everything y'all need. I'm gonna take the stress off y'all mama and all of this stuff like that. And it sounded good for about a year. And I remember he actually moved us away from where we used to live, right? He moved us away from where we used to live to a whole nother side of town, tried to make us go to new schools, tried to do all of that stuff, bought us a dog, bought us our little dog. Our dog name was Sandy. He bought us that dog for Christmas. He tried to put on this facade that he was just going to be the knight in shining armor and save my mama and her 3 kids. And for a little while, that is what he did. But then something changed. Something changed to where the bitches, calling my mama a bitch happened. One time he actually abused me, like physically put his hands on me, and he's not my biological father, which is unacceptable. We weren't at that level for him to be able to do that yet. I didn't have that level of love and trust in him for him to be able to discipline me in that way. Him and my mom fighting and bouncing up against the walls. I mean, just traumatizing. And I vividly remember when my mom was like, we leaving, we're done, we're leaving, we're moving, we're about to figure this thing out. I vividly remember him standing outside the car. Me, my mom, and my brothers were in the car, and we're like, let's go. We're like, let's go. We would rather be with our single mama and know that we're safe and fine than to be with this crazy man. I vividly remember him being outside the car. He had a gas can that was full of gas. And he's pouring it on himself, and he's saying that he's about to kill himself. Trauma. And as he's pouring it on himself, I love you. Don't leave me. I love you. I love y'all. I love everybody. Oh my God. It was so crazy. When he was doing that, he would say our names, Desi, Chris, I love you. Calling out my mother's children's name, calling out me and my brother's name while he's pouring gasoline on himself. I love you. Don't leave me, please. And it was so bad. And you forget about these things until you are having relationships and you realize certain things. So even my younger brother, Chris, he's 1 year younger than me. That is an experience that we had. My younger brother, Chris, just a year or so ago, we're talking, and he's like, we're talking about trauma and stuff like that, because he can't really talk about that with anybody else. And we're talking about it. And he was like, man, when we were young, we were in elementary school when this happened. He said, when we were young, he was telling himself in his mind that he was going to kill Mr. Greg. He literally, my brother just told me this in October. He said, man, D-Ray, I was going to kill Mr. Greg. I ain't know how, I ain't know when, but I knew I was going to kill him. An elementary school kid saying this about his mother's husband. Okay. And then as we're talking, my brother was like, but fortunately, my brother was like, man, and then I seen him a couple of years ago. I ain't even had to kill him. Life did it. Because he kind of got decrepit. I mean, life just beat him up so bad. So I say that to say it's important to acknowledge those observations of love that we have, because they determine how we show up in relationships. Okay. I literally had to learn through my relationship with Dream Wise that we don't have to yell, that we don't have to argue to get our point across. Right? We can literally have a disagreement and it does not have to become something that is destructive. Okay? So understanding your view and your perspective of love and how it has affected you is important, because that will determine how you relate to people. So when I'm having a conversation with Dream and I'm feeling that heat come up in my body, because I got two sides. I got two sides, because we all do. I got this side of me that can be calm, but a little passive aggressive and kind of smart alecky. And then I got this side of me that can just blow up. You know what I mean? Just the reality. We all have this, ain't no getting away from it. You need to accept it so that you can do better in your relationship, so that you can do better in the manifestation of your relationships. If you do not acknowledge the beliefs you have and the mentality you have surrounding relationships, somebody beautiful, powerful, in alignment with your growth, with your healing, with your transformation, they can come into your life, okay? They come into your life, and because you don't know how to withhold that space, you throw them away, you push them away, or because you don't know what your trauma, what your past life, what your shadow self is actually needing to heal, because you don't know that, when this person gives you an opportunity to transform that, you push it away. Great example of this again is with Dream. I always saw my mother and my father and their relationships, I always saw them yelling. That was how they argued. It was a yell, it was a cursing, it was that. And so like Dream and I'll be having a conversation, he may be talking calm, my voice is going to go up. And he has to say, I'm talking calmly to you. Can you please talk calmly to me? And I had to program myself. And it's still a work in progress. But if I don't control that, if I don't understand and acknowledge that I picked that up from my mother, if I don't acknowledge that and accept that that is present within me, I cannot do the work that I need to do to sustain a healthy partnership. Okay? Let me look over here in the comments and see what some of y'all are saying. Mahogany, I used to feel like men only loved me if they could benefit from our situation. There's honestly still a part of me that thinks that way, but now the switch is that I will allow myself to love fully regardless of how someone else feels about me, and I love that for me. I love that. I love that for you as well. Okay. That's okay, Mahogany. I understand the kids and them being up and active and doing all that they do. We understand that completely. In what you're saying, there's something spiritually that's coming up that is saying it's okay to be valuable. It's okay to be valuable. Okay. You said they only loved me if they could benefit from our situation. If they benefit from your situation, sis, that means you're of value. And so not only do you have to address that belief system, you also have to embrace the fact that you are valuable and that you are worthy and that they do benefit from a relationship from you. Whether that's their intentions or not, everybody benefits from a relationship with you. So that way, when you enter into a relationship and your mind starts to go on and being like, ooh, they just trying to use me for this. And oh, well, that's their business. That's not yours. You're valuable. That's a shift. I am of value. They should benefit from loving me. They should grow from loving me. And it doesn't have to take anything away from me. Okay, so you have to disconnect the belief in your mind that if they love me because our situation is beneficial to them, then that takes away something from me. They don't really love me. They love how our situation benefits them. And that's not the truth. Your situation can benefit them and you're still of value and you're still worthy. You are still deserving. You, the being, you, the soul. Okay. You for who you are. I know that's going to resonate heavy, 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 heavy. And that's why I told y'all, this class is not about picking up a book and open it. It's about the engagement and the downloads and the activations that get to come through for you. Let's go on. Christiane says, I denied myself of love for a long time because my father was not in my life. I have rejected the love from men and also rejected and also seeing that my mom was single for so long, I myself remained single, and also love was pain in the household. And I ended up attracting codependent relationships. That's exactly how this thing works, right? And I want y'all to understand how complex our mind is. And so here's what we have to do in all aspects of our lives and our relationships is we have to start programming our mind to do the things that are good for us, to think the thoughts that are good for us. So if you were thinking, Christiane, for your specific situation and everybody else, I want you to make the connection for your own life. All right. If your mind feels that something is good for you, it will continue to pursue it if you tell it to. So if you start to say, love is good for me, divine partnership is good for me, eating healthy is good for me, exercising consistently is good for me. If you communicate that to your mind is going to create opportunities for you to experience that thing that is good for you. Your mind is always trying to give you what is good for you. The issue is that we've told our minds that abandonment was good for me because it keeps me safe. Rejection was good for me because it keeps me safe. Not falling in love with these people because I think they're just going to benefit from me, that keeps me safe. So that's the story that we've told our minds. And so now you have to tell your mind, healthy love, healthy communication in a relationship is good for me. Having security and self-assurance and self-confidence, that is good for me. Watching romantic comedies is good for me. So we have to tell ourselves that. Drinking this green juice, because best believe my ego is going to be like, girl, this is over with, but I got to tell my mind, this is good for me. This is healing for me. This is transformational for me. Okay? So when you realize and recognize some of these mental emotional habits that you have connected to love, it's important for you to rewrite the story. All right? Thank you for sharing, Christiane. Taryn, I always felt like love is amazing, but a lot of work. I believe that it was complicated. And if it's not reciprocated the way you want, that's more work needed. I also didn't always feel worthy of it. You want to know why I love that? Here's why I love that. Because we have to change the language. And here's why we have to change the language. Because nobody wants to do work. You got a job that is your work that you don't want to do. When you used to get homework, you don't want to do it. When you had to do household work, you didn't want to do it. So one of the beliefs for you, Taryn, is going to be saying, this is not work, this is play. So that goes back to what I just said about telling the mind what is actually good for us. Love and relationships is good for me. It's a playground for me. I get to play at this. I get to figure this thing out. So traditionally, societally, we've been taught it's work, and that's the word that we use, but we don't understand that when we use specific words in communicating about something that we want, we place limitations on it. We make it harder than what it has to be based off how we communicate about it, based off how we think about it. So let's change the idea that love is hard work, and let's think about it as a form of play. You know, When children play, they're always trying new things. They're getting creative. They're using their imagination. They're having fun. They're figuring it out. This is the way that love is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be hardship. It's not supposed to be suffering. It's not supposed to be painful. It's all been a matter of perspective, mentality, and your level of mindfulness. So even when, and this takes work, even when Dream and I are in disagreement, some of the work that we have to do is detach from the fact that this is hard. This is hard. This is challenging. Let's detach from that and let's really ask ourselves the question, how can we have fun getting creative about making a compromise that works for both of us? That can be fun. Let's figure out how to think about this, how to twist and turn and contort our minds to think about whatever the situation is in a way that works for both of us. It's fine adventuring, exploring, and learning. It's fun doing that. Okay? So I want you to contemplate on that, Taryn. That's powerful. Shamika, love is peace, forgiving. Love is allowing a person to be who they are and not who you want them to be. Oh, baby, that takes some work. Love is allowing yourself to heal the past shit you have been through. Yes, yes, yes. Love builds you up. Love corrects with compassion. Yes, I know I can have love. I have been in multiple abusive relationships and still know there is real love out there for me. Love is unconditional. Wow. Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Thank all of you. Thank all of you for sharing everything that you have shared with us today. I so appreciate you. So we are coming to the end of our session, and here are some things that I want to leave you with when it comes down to the mentality of love, the mindfulness of love. Okay? I want y'all to get your pen and paper because these are things that you need to write down so that when we see each other next Wednesday, we have something to talk about. If you are just visiting today because you got the reading, I want to tell you right now, this is just day one that you've been able to indulge in. We have 5 more sessions. And if day one, if today has been a highlight for you, an aha moment for you, a breakthrough for you, you can still join the Sacrament of Sacred Love, okay? You can still join the class. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to send each of you an email. For those of you who are just stopping by because you got the reading, I'm going to send each of you an email with the link for you to be able to join the class. And guess what? I'm going to still let you join it at the discounted price that everybody else joined it in. Okay? I'm going to still let you join at the discounted price that everybody else joined it in for the simple fact that you came here today, for the simple fact that you showed up here today. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a discount code for you and I'm going to send it to you. Okay? I'm going to send it to your email. This is just day one of powerful spiritual activation. So put a 1 in the chat if you already have your pen and your paper and you're ready to write down your work for the week. And this work, family, it's not just for whether you're in the class or you're just visiting. I want you to do this regardless because this is what's going to help you to align more with love. All right. So we've gotten clear on our beliefs and our understanding of love, whether you put it down in the chat or not. I hope that you've gotten that understanding. If you haven't gotten that understanding, this is what I want you to do. I want you to listen back to this video and I want you to really spend some time contemplating on your beliefs surrounding love, and you're going to journal about it. You're going to write it down. You're going to get very clear on that. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because just how you saw me transform, what Mahogany said, we were able to transform that. What Christiane just said, we were able to transform that. What Jeff just said, we were able to transform that, do some alchemy on it and gain a new perspective. I want to be able to do that for you as well. So if you were not able to share and you were not able to get that answer because you were like Kelsey and you were cooking some food or you were dealing with the kids or whatever, still write that down. And when we come together next session, we'll talk about it and we'll get that activation and that higher level of understanding. Okay, so that's step 1. what else I want y'all to do is I want you to start being able to identify love. And this requires mindfulness. I like to call it see love, SEEC love. If you need to write that down, go ahead and write that down. See love. I'm going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to tell you how to do it. And it's so good. It's so good. This is what some of your manifestation power is going to come through. I ain't even going to lie to you. Some of your manifestation power in drawing in that healthy, loving relationship, even if you are in a relationship, like this still even helps Dream and I. And we have been together going on 9 years now. Okay. And this still helps us. Seeing love. What does that mean? That means when you are out, that means watching the romantic comedies. So shout out to all of y'all who are already watching the romantic comedies. In fact, I feel so inspired by that. I'm like, I think I'm going to go and watch a romantic comedy, sip on some juice and just relax myself. So watching a romantic comedy, that's also seeing love, right? That's also seeing love. But I want you to start to see love in your everyday life. And so, like I said, for me, I had this experience just a little while ago. I'm driving in the car and I need to get over. And so many cars were not trying to let me get over. But this one car just so graciously just sat right there with a smile on, it was a woman, a white woman, funny enough, sat right there with a smile on her face and just said, come on in. That was love. See, our egos will have us thinking that love has to be flowers and roses, or love has to be trauma, argumentative, fighting, like toxic. But there are so many small ways where the divine is showing you love. Okay? Okay? I can show y'all some love. Okay? I can show y'all some love. Love is always showing up in your life every day. So even when something like that happens, something small, something that you may think is so small, like somebody being kind and gracious and letting me get over, that is an act of love for me. And so you have to be able to find acts of love that are simple, but are always showing up in your life. I give you another example. This happened last year. I was going to like Ulta or something like that, going to go pick up some makeup or something. And I'm walking and I looked down, like my spirit just caught my attention. I looked down and there's a water stain on the ground in the shape of a heart. And I said, damn, I see you, love. There's even been times where I've spilled some coffee on a paper and it turns into a heart. The spill turns into the shape of a heart. See, some of you, something like that will happen. You'll spill something and you're walking and you're moving around through life and you don't catch that. You didn't catch that moment where your spiritual higher self says, hey, I'm showing you love. Or let's say you're in the grocery store, you're picking up some groceries and a kid who's shopping with their mama just looks at you and smiles and maybe waves. That's love. Let's say you're at home and you got your blinds open. It's a beautiful Sunday, a beautiful Saturday, whatever. It's a weekend. You got your blinds open, the sun is shining, and a beautiful blue jay flies and lands on your tree or on your balcony or on your porch. That's a form of love. Let's say you go to work. You go to work and somebody randomly brings you a cup of coffee. Love. Right? You drop something on the floor while you're at the job. You drop some papers on the floor. You got a whole bunch of stuff in your hand. Somebody graciously picks it up for you. Love. You have to program yourself to start seeing these things as love because that is what they are. If we look at, I have a book here called All About Love. Forgot the author, but it's called All About Love. And she says, love has a few components. I'm going to share those components with you. Some of the components of love are care, affection, honesty. What else? Recognition. Okay. Those are just some of the components of love: care, affection, recognition, honesty. Those are some components of love. So when you are out in life and somebody shows that they care about you, whether it's letting you in, bell hooks, thank you, Shay, whether it is letting you in to a line when you're driving in traffic, whether it's somebody says, you look good today, you look beautiful today, that's recognition. That's a form of love. Okay? When that bird comes and sits on your porch and starts chirping, that's affection. They're showing you some affection. That's a form of love. You have to start being able to identify that, because love exists in your life. For the simple fact that you are living, breathing, and existing here today, this says that love exists in your life. Because love is the life force energy to all living things. Love is the life force. Love is what makes that sun come out every day. Love is what makes the wind blow and the seasons change and so on and so forth. Love is always present. And if you cannot identify the love that is showing up every day in your life, that has nothing to do with a man or a woman or attracting somebody, if you cannot train your mind to start identifying love in its many forms, you will not be open and available to receive the partnership that you want. Okay? And so that's something that I need you to discipline yourself on, is to see love. And then when we come back together next Wednesday, I need you all to be able to say, this happened and I recognized it as love. Okay? I'm telling you, this transformed me, and this is what supported me in the manifestation of Dream and I's relationship transforming and converting and evolving. We were friends for 4 years and nothing popped off. It wasn't in my mind, it wasn't in his mind, we were just friends. But I got into this zone of seeing love. I used to listen to love songs all day, specifically Stevie Wonder, Always. I listened to that song so much, love had no other option but to enter into my space, because I decided to resonate from love and see love. Okay? It's not about your job. It's not about your past. It's not about your parents and how they used to love. It ain't about any of that. None of that matters. It isn't whether you're a single parent, whether you got the job that you want, the money that you want, the finance, none of that matters when it comes to love. And in fact, when you find sacred love, all of those things blow up, all of those things blossom, all of those things grow and expand. I'm telling you from experience. When Dream and I first got together, I was working at Lowe's as a cashier. Honey, I was scanning nails and plywood and toilets and light bulbs. That's what I was doing. And through our sacred union and companionship, I've been able to evolve and get to where I'm sitting before you now and sharing this insight. Okay. So your task for this week, get clear again on your beliefs on love. And I want you to start transforming it. Stop thinking about it the same way. See the opposite side of that coin. And then lastly, I want you to see love. I want you to be intentional about seeing love, experiencing love in its many forms. Okay. Anybody have any questions before we get off of here? Go ahead, Shamika.
Okay. I wanted to know, the reading that you talked about today. So is that in this class? Is it the same? Is it the same? Or is it?
So because you actually bought the class, Your reading is going to be live with me face-to-face one-on-one because you actually bought the class. So you need to use that link to book it. But for the people who are here, and this is so good, this is why you need to get your reading. For the people who are here who purchased the pre-recorded reading, I'm still going to do for y'all what I did for everybody else, which in the reading, based off of what comes up, I've been making a PDF where I tell you some of the important key points to focus on throughout the course and then in your daily life. So this is separate. You're already good there. You just need to go to the link that I sent you when you first bought the class, click that link and book your session because it's one-on-one face-to-face.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
My pleasure, sis. My pleasure. Listen, I'm so grateful to be here. Thank y'all for trusting me. Thank you for trusting me with your readings. Thank you for trusting me to deliver this insight to you. Are there any other questions before we go? For those of you who just popped in, like I said, for you showing up today, I'm going to send you an email. You're still going to be able to get into the class at the same price that the other people got into at first. I'm going to send that to you. You got to act on it though. That's just it. Okay. No more questions. We're good. All right.
I do have one question. I know.
Sure, Shay.
So do I have to go and set up a different goodness, a session for the reading too also? No? Okay.
We did yours, Shay.
Okay.
You didn't receive your email, Shay?
Yeah.
Did you receive it?
Yes, I did. Okay. All right.
You good, Shay. You good.
Okay, all right.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, everybody. Not gonna hold y'all any longer. Any of Shamika? Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you, and I just wanted to say too, like if spirit is nudging any of y'all to like do this, do the class. And I say that because when you did it, the day when I signed up, early that day I pulled a card, and I don't hardly do that, and I pulled a card anyway, and then I sent it to who I was supposed to send it to, and it was like 333 on the card, and I mean on this timestamp. So then I go skating later on that night, and my locker is 333, and I'm just like, okay, spirit, I know you with me. I know you with me. So then I get home, I get in the bed, and I'm literally laying in my bed, and it was like, you got to sign up for the Sacrament of Love. And I was like, in the bed, it's cold, it's like 10 o'clock. So I get out the bed because I left my stuff in the car. I get on, I hop on, and then I see the 3-3. I was like, you was telling me, yeah. So I'm just saying, if spirit is nudging you to do it, it serves your highest good. I ain't promoting you, but I am. I am. I'm promoting.
Exactly.
Because those was love nudges.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
yes.
I'm gonna take up no more time because here she comes. I love you. Good to see you.
I love you. I appreciate that.
And I second that too. So y'all please do join. It is well worth it.
Worth it.
It is. Yeah, 100%. You will.
Okay.
Yeah.
She want to say hi. Say hi.
Hey, baby.
All right.
I love it.
You,
I love it.
Y'all have a great night.
All right. I love it. Thank y'all for that. All right. Love y'all. Y'all have a great night. I'll see y'all next Wednesday. All of the love, all the power. And then also for those of y'all who are thinking about it, not only are you going to get the reading, you're going to get the relationship alchemy course, and you'll also get some other stuff I put in there, a book, an ebook, a powerful ebook. It's juicy. Okay. So anyways, love you. I'll see y'all next Wednesday. Do the